Good evening, everybody. We have a lot of commendations tonight. I mean, we have students that athletic, the arts, academics. It's really and a coach that has achieved a really high award. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Caruso to give out the award for the Seal of Biliteracy.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. In 2016, New Jersey became the 17th state to implement a statewide seal of biliteracy. This seal seeks to encourage students to study languages by certifying attainment of biliteracy, and it provides employers with a method of identifying people with language and biliteracy skills. Additionally, universities incorporate this recognition to award academic credit to applicants seeking admission. Language proficiency strengthens intergroup relationships, affirms the value of diversity, and honors the multiple cultures and languages of a community. We are proud of the Middletown students who achieved the seal of biliteracy and grateful to the teachers who helped them to achieve such a high level of proficiency, as well as to the teachers and administrators who facilitated and supported this initiative. The following 3 students earned the seal of biliteracy in French at High School North: Marilyn Mangan, Emily Razzo, and Caitlin Vogel. The following 4 students from High School North earned the seal of biliteracy in Spanish: Brandon Del Grasso, Jasmine Ocasio, Patrick Seeley, and Jessica Uraga. The following High School South students also earned the seal of biliteracy: Caitlin Grenau in French, Christian Ulick Morales in Spanish, and Amelie Villa in German. We'd also like to acknowledge the following teachers: Jennifer DiMaria, teacher of Spanish at High School North; Diane Jones, teacher of French at High School North; and Carrie Albanese, assistant principal at High School South. Congratulations to all of you.
Congratulations. That is quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Next, Ms. Pekas will announce the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution Good Citizen Award.
Okay, as a former social studies teacher, history teacher, it's with great pleasure that I share this exciting news. Molly Buthorn, Middletown High School South senior, has received the Good Citizen Award and scholarship at both chapter and state level of the Daughters of the American Revolution. Molly is the female New Jersey state winner and will be recognized at the upcoming NJDAR State Conference in April. The DAR Good Citizen Award was created to encourage and reward the qualities of a good citizen. The selection criteria include the student's record of dependability, leadership, service, and patriotism. The school community congratulates Molly on this exemplary award.
Congratulations, Molly. Congratulations, that's quite an accomplishment. Next, we have Mr. Graziano, who's going to announce the All Shore Chorus and All Shore Symphonic Band award winners.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I am honored to announce these following All Shore Chorus students and congratulate them on participating in the All Shore and making the All Shore Chorus for this year. As a former All Shore Chorus member myself, I know the honor, and it is a great honor to be a part of that. So the following students are from High School North, and that's Jessica Ardolina, and she's 2021 All Shore Chorus, and she's a 2-year member. Sarah Buckman, High School North as well, 2021 All Shore Chorus, 1st-year member. Julia Bonaquista, and she is 2021 and All Shore 4-year member. Sam Cuson is 2021 again this year, also All Shore Chorus 2-year member.
Can I help you?
Ava Giglia, and she is also a 2-year member. Rachel Grodek, she is also a 2-year member. Self Grover is 2nd-year member as well. And Brian Reimertz is 1st-year member. Aaron Sachs, 1st-year member as well. And Shannon Salazzo is 2nd-year member in All Shore Chorus. Sarah Welsh is the 4th year she is participating in this. And now High School South students. Andrea Lopez, 4-year member. Caitlin Grinnell is 3-year member. Francesca Sticks is a 1st-year member. And Ali Banerjee is a 1st-year member. Congratulations to all of our All Shore members for this year.
Congratulations.
I would also now like to congratulate the All Shore Symphonic Band students who were accepted in for this year. And we have Abigail Coakley of High School South, Anthony D'Antuono from High School South, Isabel Postaniak from High School South, Andrew Reedy, High School South, and Tessa Bowler, High School North. Once again, congratulations to all of our students. It's a wonderful accomplishment, and we're very, very proud of all of you. Thank you all.
Next, Mr. Carroll will announce the athletic awards.
Okay, our first award tonight is the Winter All Shore athletes. This represents the best of the best that the Shore Conference has to offer in what was more than a trying and difficult season. So from High School South, All Shore First Team Ice Hockey, Nate Block. From High School South, All Shore First Team Track, Aaron Stilitano. From High School North, All First Team Shore, Rhett Schnorr. From High School North, Second Team All Shore Track, Haley Guerreri. And from High School North, Second Team All Track, Connor Kinch. Congratulations to all.
Congratulations.
My next award is the National Girls and Women in Sport Day. For the past 35 years, the NJSIA has recognized one female athlete from each school. This year's theme was the Lead Her Forward to honor the many ways that sports push girls and women to achieve excellence and realize their boundless potential. From High School South, Emily Salvador, she plays field hockey and softball. And from High School North, Ellie Kaysen, she plays basketball and soccer. Congratulations to both young women. My last award is probably the most special award I've ever had the opportunity to present. And it goes to Mr. Bill Clifton, who is the cross-country coach at South. Back in the fall, I received a call from Bill Bruno at the state that recognized Mr. Clifton as the New Jersey State Coach of the Year. And through the process, he then was named the Northeast Coach of the Year. And then a couple months ago, I got a pleasant phone call that Bill Clifton was named the National Cross-Country Coach of the Year. Coach Clifton has been with the program for 19 years. He's earned 12 division titles, 3 Monmouth County, 2 Shore Conferences, 7 sectional, and 2 state group championships. An unbelievable achievement. And among the thousands of coaches across the country, Bill Clifton was named the National Coach of the Year. I've asked Coach Clifton to say a few words here if he can.
Okay, I'm a go.
You're a go. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Really is very exciting and quite a surprise, honestly. But first, thank you to the Board of Education for having the faith in me for all these years to just giving me the opportunity to be a positive influence on a teenager's life. Also, thank you to the team for having the confidence and believing in the staff, and then going on and just being such strong women, not only as athletes and as people too. And also the support from the South Athletic Office, that being Rich Carroll and Kathy Clapp. And of course, my co-coach and wife, Kathleen. Anybody who's in the know realizes that none of this happens without her. And lastly, I don't wear any jewelry, but the National Federation is sending me a big Super Bowl type ring, and that is one piece of jewelry that I am going to wear. And with that, you know that I'm also going to have to start wearing my wedding ring again too. So thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it.
Congratulations so much.
So in addition, I have a huge plaque for you that's in my office. So as soon as I see you, I'll get that for the wall. So thank
Very
you.
good.
all. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And next, Mr. Ranella is going to announce the Nurse Excellence Award.
All right, so the Board of Education congratulates New Monmouth Elementary School nurse Kathy Grano as a recipient as the New Jersey State School Nurses Association School Nurse Excellence Award, which is known as New Jersey's School Nurse of the Year. Nurse Kathy is always professional, student-centered, extremely knowledgeable, kind, and caring. We commend her for this exemplary achievement and express our gratitude to her dedication to improving health and educational outcomes for our students. Nurse Kathy will be honored in June at the National Association of School Nurses Conference. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Kathy. Well, that concludes this awards commendations, but there were quite a few in all different categories, students from both schools, staff. This is something that it makes us proud, it makes us happy in this time that's very challenging, and we just congratulate everyone for the effort and the achievements they have despite this difficult year. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good evening, everyone. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided by sending such notice to the Asbury Park Press, the Middletown Patch, and the Middletown Township Public School District website, and the posting of such notice at the August T. Minor administrative offices and each elementary, middle, and secondary website in the district. Roll call.
Mrs. Caminetti? Mr. Donlin? Mr. Gymo?
Here.
Mr. Heffernan?
Here.
Mr. Little?
Here.
Mrs. Tobacco? Here. Mrs. Wright? Mr. Capone?
Here.
Mrs. Minuis?
Here. Okay. We need are our student speakers here now or they're coming later?
They're here now.
They're here now, good. Okay, Sophia, would you like to go first? Go ahead.
Hi. Here are the North highlights from this past month. Senior Luke Kratz was notified that he was just one of just 25 students across the state to earn the prestigious New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association Student Scholarship. The honor awards $2,000 to each of these selected graduating seniors for their continued displays of leadership in their communities or school-related activities. We are so proud of Connor North for his 4-year Army ROTC scholarship to attend Boston University and a grant from BU to cover room and board. His hard work and determination have paid off. Upon college graduation, he will commission as an officer in the U.S. Army. Congratulations to all the new inductees of the Italian Honor Society, World Languages, French, Latin, and graduating seniors. The New Jersey All Shore Chorus presents the world premium of Safe Here in Your Arms, April 27th at 7 p.m. For the month of April, staff members wore blue on Friday to support Autism Awareness Month. English Honor Society ran a book drive to donate to children in need. Caitlin Peterson donated the most books, and overall, over 1,000 books were collected and donated. We submitted the full-day instructional plan with lunches starting May 10th, and school will run from 7:25 to 2:02. Middletown North is continuing its courtyard beautification project. We are sanding and finishing the damaged picnic tables, installing umbrellas, redoing murals, and planting flowers. It's becoming a very popular venue for our spring events. Miss McGowan ran the Poetry Slam in the courtyard yesterday, April 26th at noon. Cassie DeGeorge and Ella Healy were the winners. Our chicken coop continues to expand as new chicks hatch. We observed Earth Day on April 22nd. Throughout the week, we had daily announcements about the importance of keeping the environment safe. The Environmental Club gave out sunflower seedlings during Earth Day to save the bees. Students were encouraged to take home a seedling, nurture it for a week, and plant it. The Middletown High School North junior and senior prom bids will be sold during the week of April 26th to April 30th. The junior ticket costs $85 and the senior ticket costs $75. The junior prom is scheduled for Thursday, May 20th from 6 to 9 p.m., and the senior prom is scheduled for Friday, May 21st from 6 to 9 p.m. We are excited about the governor's recent announcement that dancing will be permitted at prom. On Monday, May 3rd, North is celebrating all the seniors from the class of 2021 to recognize their post-secondary plans. This includes college/university, community college, trade or technical school, military, work, or travel. Remote learners are encouraged to attend the event, which will be held on the football field between 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. There will be food, photos, and music to lift our North spirits. Ray Convey and his students received a trophy, plaque, and prizes for their participation in the Marine Corps FIT program. Middletown North is proud of the certification earned. Congratulations to Coach Wellington and the High School North girls varsity volleyball team on winning their final game of the season versus High School South. It was a very competitive match with much excitement. Congratulations to the North varsity wrestling team on their final win of their season versus RBR with a score of 50-27. The Middletown North and Middletown South girls softball team will be presenting the Rick Unterstein Softball Invitational at Middletown North on May 1st. The proceeds from the softball invitational will go towards scholarship awards from a sophomore player from both Middletown North and Middletown South to assist in their academic future. The first girls' flag football game will be played on May 5th. We are excited to now be outdoors for our spring sports season so parents and students can be in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Ty? Is Ty here?
I don't think he's on.
I don't think he's on. Maybe we'll check back with him when we come back, so we won't miss out. Okay, I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Objections? Okay, we'll see everybody in closed session. Good evening, everybody. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided by sending such notice to the Asbury Park Press, the Middletown Patch, and the Middletown Township Public School District website, and the posting of such notice at the August T. Minor administrative offices and each elementary, middle, and secondary school website in the district. Roll call.
Mrs. Caminiti?
Here.
Mr. Donlin?
Here.
Mr. Gymo?
He's there.
Here. I'm sorry, Amy. Here.
That's okay. Mr. Heffernan?
Here.
Mr. Little? Mr. Little? Mrs. Tobacco? Here. Mrs. Wright?
Here.
Mr. Capone?
Here.
Mrs. Minuis?
Here. Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, we're going to have a moment of silence afterwards for Frank Lineberry, a well-respected former district teacher and administrator. He passed away last week. Mr. Lineberry began his career in Middletown in 1974 as an elementary teacher, then served as an assistant principal, a principal of River Plaza and Nut Swamp Elementary Schools, and held the central office position in curriculum and staff development, as well as human resources. He served in many district schools and finished his career as the principal of Thorne Middle School, where he retired in 2004. We send our deep condolences to the Lineberry family. He was a great, great man. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with Ty tonight. I see you there, Ty. How are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry about earlier. Some miscommunication error.
No, it's fine. Either way, it's good.
Okay, thank you. I'll get started. Thank you for having me tonight. I'll be starting off with a topic about the Journalism 2 and Advanced Journalism classes at South, who recently published their April Fool's Humor issue of the Pigeon Squawk. Students worked completely digitally to produce a PDF of the issue, which included elements of humor, writing, editing, graphic design, and photo direction. The issue lives on the Eagle Eye website at mhsseagleeye.com. 3 members of the Latin Honor Society, Victoria Medal, Victor Medal, and Gianna Musa, have organized a blood drive in conjunction with the American Red Cross on Saturday, May 8th at the Lincroft Presbyterian Church. Students who donate blood can receive community hours. South is very proud of our TV production students and Mr. Corey for the following accolades. 9 films screened at the Garden State Film Festival, with MHSS students taking Best High School Documentary for The Mayor and Best High School Animation for Empty. 5 films screened at the Rowan Radio TV Film Media Fest, with Middletown High School South taking Best High School Documentary for The Mayor and Best Animation for Empty. 9 films screened at the Point Lookout Film Fest in Long Island, with Middletown High School South taking Best Concept for The Lighthouse Italian Ice, Best Experimental Film for Why Do You Jump, and Best Animation for I Want Them to Know. 5 films were screened at the Basie Teen College Film Festival, with Middletown High School South students taking the Audience Award for The Lighthouse Italian Ice, Best Documentary for The Mayor, and this film was judged in the college round, as well as the School Award for Middletown High School South, which earned Middletown High School South Sony filmmaking equipment, which is very helpful for the progression of the program. As well as that, 8 films were selected to be screened at this year's Hang On to Your Shorts Film Festival. Congrats on your achievements that not only attest to your personal skills, but the strength of the MHSS film program, which greatly benefited from these awards. Lastly, Sachi Banara of grade 8 is the recipient of honorable mention for the 2021 NCWIT Award for Aspirations in Computing. NCWIT stands for National Center for Women and Information Technology. Each year, they recognize students and educators for their accomplishments and goals in computing and technology, with over 4,200 high school applicants from all 50 states, Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, overseas military bases, and Canada. Sachi's application truly stood out. The NCWIT Award for Aspirations in Computing honors 9th and 12th grade students who self-identify as women, genderqueer, or non-binary for their computing-related achievements and interests, and encourage them to pursue their passions. Award recipients are selected and based on their aptitude and aspirations in technology and computing, as demonstrated by their computing experience, computing-related activities, leadership experience, tenacity in the face of barriers to access, and plans for post-secondary education. Sachi will receive an individual trophy or certificate and swag prizes. Congratulations to you, Sachi. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, Ty, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. We're going to start with the public hearing on the 2021 budget. After the presentation, there is a spot for public comment on the budget only.
Thank you, Mrs. Menuise. We will be displaying the presentation that's up on the website that presents the final budget for the 21-22 school year. I'll start off by saying that there have been no changes in this budget since it was presented on March 23rd with the adjustments that were made to the tentative budget and the tentative budget that was sent in to the county superintendent to approve. So this budget reflects the same budget that was presented at that meeting. Chris, do you have the slides? Okay. You can go to the next slide. So our first slide, again, recaps. We've presented this previously, but it's always good to keep focused on the NJDOE Statement of Priorities. These are the areas that the county superintendent reviews our narratives on to look at what we have in our budget to support these initiatives and these instructional areas. So we did have to submit that for review, and we were giving all the narratives that included the items that we put in our budget for these areas. You can go to the next slide. So our final budget summary, if you go to the next slide, it'll start with presenting the revenues. So again, we have a general tax levy increase of 1.5%. Just on the general portion of the tax levy. So having a 1.5% increase, that does generate banked cap of $714,389. So that bank tax levy cap is available to the district to use over the next 3 years if it elects to as part of the budget if needed. So that stays parked to the side if the district needs that in a future budget over the next 3 years. Again, we realized an S2 decrease in our state aid of about $1.2 million. We did budget for extraordinary aid that we receive every year. We also budgeted for other miscellaneous revenues such as interest and so forth. I will highlight that we are utilizing $1.6 million out of our capital reserve to fund eligible projects in this budget. And we are also using $693,000 out of our maintenance reserve to offset our maintenance and facilities costs in the budget. And we also are using $989,000 of excess surplus, which we don't normally have available for a budget, but we did realize some savings in the 1920 year related to operations under the pandemic that we didn't have all of the expenses that we normally have, so we are utilizing that in this year's budget. It's not a recurring revenue. If you go to the next slide. So the next couple of slides recap the appropriations areas, and again, we had laid this all out with our tentative budget. The various major areas of our budget are listed here. If we go to the next slide. Going down to the bottom of this page, it presents our total budget for the 21-22 year of $171,213,492, which represents a 2.1% increase in our total appropriations over the previous year. Go to the next slide, Chris. We'll talk about our debt service budget. Our debt service budget is the portion of the budget which is used to pay off the existing outstanding bonds that the district has. So at this point in time, we have 3 outstanding bond issues. We have a refunding bond issue that was just done in June 2020, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. We have another refunding bond issues where we refinanced a previous issue for a lower interest rate in 2013. And then we had a 2014 bond issue, which was related to a referendum we did during that year, which covered several projects throughout the district, which were partially funded by this bond issue and partially funded by ROG grants from the state. So our total debt service that we need to meet the obligation for the 21-22 year is about $6.4 million. Our outstanding bonds at the end of this current year will be $42 million. So we've been paying off principal steadily over the past 10 years and decreasing our outstanding bond amount. We go to the next slide. Just to talk about, for those of you who haven't seen this before, we did do a refunding of our 2010 bonds in June of 2020. And that transaction resulted in a significant debt service savings for the district. So our debt service that was included in the 2021 budget was $7,056,000. Our debt service included in the upcoming budget is $6,463,000. It's a reduction of almost $600,000. We will be realizing savings on our debt service each year through the maturity date of the 2020 bonds, which is in 2027. So when we did this refunding, we did not extend the life of the bonds. They are still maturing in 2027. If we go to the next slide. Just to refresh everyone's memory, we actually talked about this last week, and there'll be a resolution to apply for some of these funds on our agenda this evening. But the district and other districts throughout the state and the country has received, we call it pandemic-related funding. We have had a few sources, the Coronavirus Relief Fund that we received money from, the CARES Act, which we are continuing to spend down. We also have the ESSER II funds, which are on the agenda this evening, that total almost $1.8 million for the general ESSER II funds, and then targeted funds for learning acceleration and mental health. So we have these funds to spend. The CARES Act goes through September 30th, 2022, and the ESSER II funds extend through 2023. So we do have these additional funds to assist with results of the pandemic for our district. We did present this slide, but we wanted to present it again in case people had not seen it originally. How does Middletown compare? So taking Middletown's ratios and amounts from our taxpayer guide to education spending for 2020, which is the most recent one that was issued, looking at the information for the 94 K-12 districts that are in the state with greater than 3,500 students, we do compare favorably to the state medians in all of these categories. So our budgeted per pupil amount for 1920 was the 20th lowest out of the 94 districts in this category. Middletown being at $15,314 and the state median being $16,575. We also have favorable information regarding to our administrative costs and our ratios of students to administrators and faculty to administrators. So we just wanted to present this information. So this slide recaps the impact of the general tax levy and the debt service fund tax levy. So as we talked about before, our general fund tax levy is increasing 1.5%, 2% is the cap, so we're 0.5% below that. So on an average assessed value home, which for 2020 is $467,272, the annual change between 2021 and 21-22's proposed budget on a home of that value would be an increase of $124.37 or monthly $10.36. However, on the debt service side, because of the refunding that we did and the savings that was generated during this current year that we can then carry forward to fund some of the debt service budget for next year, we're actually realizing a decrease in the debt service tax rate and tax levy. So we had $219.21 was the impact last year. This year it's $183.97. So it's a reduction of $35.24 or almost $3 a month. So taking those together, that brings our net increase with both of those tax levies together annually on an average assessed home at $89.13 and a reduction of the blended tax rates of 0.075. So if you look at that overall, if you combine the general and the debt service tax levies, that would equate to a 0.85% increase overall in both of those components of the tax levy. So our budget timeline, as I mentioned before, the tentative budget was approved by the Executive County Superintendent on April 9th. We did publish the tentative budget in the Asbury Park Press as required on April 16th, and we are having a public hearing on the budget tonight, which is between the statutory dates of April 24th and May 7th of this year. So that's a summary of the budget. As Mrs. Minuit said, at this time, it is a hearing, so if anyone has any comments specific to the 21-22 budget, we can hear those now.
I just want to hear if any board members want to make any comments before the public.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't know if I have a clear enough view into personnel, resource allocation to approve the budget for next year. Guidance, social, emotional, and other counselor services haven't been addressed enough, I don't think. And the strategic plan hasn't really been addressed at all in general. We don't have enough guidance counselor resources in high schools. I don't think our social service resources are where they should be. I haven't heard enough about programs to enhance student achievement and the student experience. We don't support trades and other post-high school options as we once did. And I've been hearing about capital plans, but I've just heard vagaries. And quite honestly, I've heard vague ideas about 3 to 5 year capital plans, but I haven't heard it, excuse me, in the context of the strategic plan. So I don't think I could vote for this budget. That's my only opinion. I think I need more information on what we plan on doing and how we plan on addressing strategic planning and also social emotional concerns and guidance counselors. I mean, our guidance counselors are overtaxed. I mean, you can't have a few hundred kids per counselor, especially in today's world, where you have COVID issues and kids applying to college and kids applying to different trades. I think we have to take more of an initiative. Taking classes and learning lessons is really, valuable, but you have to have a goal and you have to have a post-high school sort of vision. And I don't know if as a school district, we're doing as much as we should.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, let's open it up to the public on the budget only.
First is Rachel Knopf.
Everybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rachel Denalco, Blue Jay Court. I appreciate the compliment.
Hold on, Rachel. We're having a hard time.
Okay.
There's a buzzing.
If she's
Oh, really?
a headset may be on.
Are you using a headset?
Yeah, let me. That helped?
Yes, much better.
Yep, definitely. My children stole my good headset, so I had to use my old one. So it's their fault. I actually wanted to just comment on the strategic plan. I apologize I wasn't able to attend and speak last week, but I got my second COVID shot and I was down for the count. At the past few PIC meetings, we've always kind of done a touch base on strategic planning, and I recognize that and Frank were meeting with.
Rachel, we're only discussing the budget right now.
Oh, I know, it's related.
Okay.
At the last PIC meeting, I brought up again, where are we on the strategic plan? And basically there was not a real big update to give, except for you guys had met with Malone and McBroom, and we kind of were at a point where they told us we no longer had them retained, and that any additional work they would need to do would have to be funded out of new money this year. But that when I asked, I was told there was no current line item in the budget for strategic planning initiatives. So I didn't see anything in the slides right now. I know obviously edits can happen even after the plan is approved, but I just, as a member of the public, I wanted to really urge you guys to make sure that that is something that does not get dropped this year. I recognize COVID made us have to move some things to the back burner, and I know we're not through it yet. But I think this pandemic has shown us that our schools are very overcrowded in some instances. We still have aging buildings. There are still inefficiencies that need to be fixed, and we can't afford to keep kicking it down the road. A lot of effort went into the strategic planning process last year, a lot of public input. I mean, hundreds of people spending dozens of hours, honestly, from the public alone attending the meetings. I would hate to see that all get lost or pushed aside. So I'm urging you guys to, if you do pass this budget tonight, please discuss tonight, at least adding that in afterwards or adding it in before you vote. It's a critical part of where we're headed, and I would hate to see it lost. It was really surprising to me to realize that it was not already built into the budget for this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel.
I just want to clarify that the budget does include funds, while it may not be a line item for strategic planning, there are funds for professional services that can be allocated for various things. So it's certainly something that the board could consider.
Thank you.
And there has also been a lot of talk about health and well-being throughout the district for the entire year. And I know that we're using some of the funds that we received for that too. Okay.
Any more hands raised?
No more? Okay, seeing no other hands raised, I close that public portion on the budget. And I need a motion to adopt the budget. Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call vote?
Mrs. Caminiti?
Yes.
Mr. Donlin?
No.
Mr. Gymo?
He's muted. Unmute yourself, Mr.
You're muted, Tom.
Yes, I vote no on the budget.
Mr. Heffernan?
Yes.
Mr. Little?
No.
Mrs. Tobacco?
Yes.
Mrs. Wright?
No.
Mr. Capone?
Yes.
Mrs. Minuis?
Yes.
We have 5 affirmative votes, motion carries.
Alrighty. Now I want to open up the public comment on agenda items only.
First is Stacy Jones.
It's got the agenda.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would just like to ask, I just wanted to ask in the superintendent's update tonight. I know I spoke at last week's board meeting regarding the plan to move to full day. That was part of the update. And I would just like to know, or have it addressed during the meeting, whether there is a plan for the families who have expressed interest in keeping their kids in person but are not comfortable having them eat in the school, and also whether there is data that can be shared as to what is driving the decision to move forward with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, then we're going to close the public portion and go on to our voting agenda. We have proclamations for National Paraprofessional Appreciation Day, Administrative Professional Day, National School Principals Day, National Teacher Appreciation Day, approval of School Nurse Day. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. I need a motion to approve the minutes for executive session on 3/17, special voting meeting, pre-meeting workshop on 3/17, executive session on 3/23, and the regular voting meeting on 3/23.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, under the president's report, I think we talked, well, I'll do that under old business about bringing the meeting to, the public to the meeting. Business administrator, we need a motion for number 1 through 4.
So moved.
Second? Anybody a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Superintendent's update?
Good evening, everyone. I want to remind everyone that on Tuesday, May 4th at 7 p.m., there will be a virtual informative presentation and a Q&A session on inclusion in our district. 2 of our schools, Leonardo and Harmony, applied for and were accepted into a grant program to promote inclusion of children with special needs so that they are fully educated with their same age peers. A few of the topics on the agenda include how this work aligns with our strategic plan, specifically our goal 2 of the strategic plan, data on inclusion throughout the state, overview of the grant and the systemic change process, specific district information on challenges and opportunities, and then it will be followed by a question, like a Q&A, and a discussion. We're excited to be delving into this challenging work and very rewarding work. We anticipate this grant work to proceed for the next 4 or 5 years, and we're supported in this initiative by Montclair University's Center for Autism and Early Childhood Mental Health and the New Jersey Coalition of Inclusive Education. Both groups will also be part of Tuesday's presentation and discussion. I also want to mention that Bayview Elementary School has recently applied for this inclusion grant also, and we're hopeful that the school will will receive the grant and benefit from the guidance and resources provided by these organizations. We would like to thank Middletown Friends of Diverse Learners for coordinating this event with the district. You will find the link to the event on our district and school's website very shortly. It's not up there yet, but it will be up there soon. I recommend that you put May 4th at 7 p.m. on your calendar for this very important and informative virtual evening. That's it.
All right. I need a motion for number 2 through 8.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? I need a motion for number 9.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, under technology, I need a motion for number 1 through 3.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wait, yeah.
I'm sorry.
What did you go through?
I missed I just got lost in this thoughts.
We just did number 9 under the page 8 of 12.
On the superintendent list?
Yes, the
Okay, sorry.
broker.
The broker? Okay.
Yes.
I vote no.
That's no for me also, yes.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm a no as well.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that? Did we just go over number 9 again? I'm sorry. It's hard for me to hear.
9, yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the vote. I vote
Oh,
no.
so how many, so we have some people that voted no to number 9. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
thank
Three people indicated they wish to vote no.
Okay, technology, number 1 through 3. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I also need to go back to number 2 under the superintendents because I vote no for that every month. Okay, under student services, we have number 1 through 4. Need a motion?
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We're down to policy. We have a first reading on number 1, a second reading adoption on number 2. Anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we have curriculum, number 1 through 7.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We have on finance, I need a motion for number 1 through 3.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Under student activities, we need a motion on number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed, abstentions. And we have the Personnel Committee, we'll do number 1 through 4.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We have number 5 through 7.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I'd like to do number 8 by itself. The superintendent of schools recommends the appointment of Bridget Bird to District Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations, welcome to Middletown. It was very nice meeting her in closed session. I need a motion for number 9 through 13.
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
You may not, you may want someone else to move that.
Oh, you okay? Okay.
We have a motion for numbers 9 through 13. So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Okay, abstentions. All right. Do we have any old business? I just wanted to bring up, have we gotten any updates on how we could start letting the public attend the meetings? Have we looked into anything yet? Any idea when it could happen?
Well, I think based on the board's direction from last week, we are exploring a setup over at the high school for next month, but we don't have it all worked out yet, but we are actively looking at getting that set up, and we'll keep the board apprised of that. Not sure if that would be for the May 13th meeting.
Yeah.
We may just start with the workshop, but we'll let the board know.
All right, thank you.
Something that needs a vote or anything?
No, I don't think so.
What's that? I don't-
Need a
Doesn't need a
vote.
vote.
Bruce said.
Oh, no, we are looking at it, but it would be, we are thinking at the high school, obviously not here.
Any other old business?
Yeah, have all the lunch plans been sent out to all the schools? I've seen some of them.
Yes,
I believe so, John. I can
Yes,
speak
the
for, I
answer is
think,
yes.
3 of them, so.
yes, they went out today.
Mary Ellen said yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any new business?
Yeah, I'd like to say for Zoom, is there a way that we can let participants see, how many other folks are on Zoom? Because it seems to be if you're a participant and not on a panel, you can't really tell how many other people are on or how many hands are raised, or where you are on the queue. Is there a way we can show them, have an idea how big their audience is at that time and who might be in front of them in terms of hands raised?
Yes.
They can tell.
If you hover your cursor down the bottom of the screen on the dashboard, you should see some icons pop up, one of which is participants.
No, they told it. So if I'm a participant, I can see that, not a panelist?
And then you go to attendees, John. Can you hit
Yeah,
the
then you go to
attendance button?
I can see it. I'm a panelist. I'm saying if I'm calling from the public, I'm not a panelist.
Members of the public are only able to see panelists on the screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is there a way to sort of give an indication of how big the audience is and how many hands are raised?
Not unless you are a panelist or the host, and members of the audience, of the general attendee audience, do not have that ability.
I just say that because I think it feels for some folks. I mean, I think they like having access to Zoom, but I think also too, it sort of makes them a little bit of a silo and a little bit hard to really see. There's some nights where we have maybe, like tonight, maybe like 50 something, other nights 80 or maybe a few hundred, and also how many hands are raised. So some folks, they don't see how many hands are out there, or if they're in the queue or how that works. Maybe it's something we can think about if there's a way we can do that.
I will certainly speak to our representative at Zoom and see if there are options for that. I'm not sure that there is in the webinar, but I will look into it.
Any other new business? Seeing none, I'm going to open it up to public comments.
The first is Rachel Canasta.
Hi again, can you hear me?
Yes, good.
I switched headsets, is it better?
Much better.
Okay, good. I actually just had a question / recommendation regarding the quarantine requirements. I recognize that the district is beholden to the state Department of Health guidelines on when to quarantine kids and that they can't get tested back in, even with a negative test. I've spoken to Thompson's nurse a few times to make sure I understood what the rules are. My personal, anecdotal experience seems to be that I haven't heard a lot of stories where kids who were quarantined due to in-school exposure were subsequently tested positive. And I'm wondering if the district has data to basically say, of the 50 kids, for example, who may have been quarantined due to a positive exposure, how many of them subsequently tested positive within that 2-week period? I recognize that we may not have any ability to change anything for the spring. But I was hoping Middletown, as a large district in the state, might be able to share that information with the state to hopefully impact the quarantine requirements that may still exist in the fall. I know it's crazy. I mean, people are all over social media bad-mouthing the district over what the quarantine requirements are. I think not recognizing that you guys don't have control over that, but I do think you might have influence over the state as it relates to that. And all you need to do is share some of the data, again, assuming that it shows what anecdotally we seem to be seeing, which is that we're not seeing a lot of positive cases subsequent to those quarantine kids. So if there is any data you can share with the parents now, I think it would be helpful. But I also strongly suggest that if it's data you guys have available, which I think you could, school by school, to bucket it up and share it with the state and hopefully influence this for the fall. Because I know, especially with graduations coming up, with other events, end of school year events coming up, there's going to be issues where dozens, if not hundreds of kids are going to be quarantined and missing these events because of the current quarantine restrictions. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention and hopefully see if there's a way the district can influence it with the state moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Seeing any more hands raised at this time?
No other hands are raised?
No. Take that back.
One went up. Okay.
Michelle Collins.
Hi, Michelle.
Hey, it's Michelle Collins. I have two kids myself. I just have two questions. I wanted to know if juniors and seniors are vaccinated by May 10th, will they still have to quarantine if they're exposed? I'm not clear on whether that is the case because some of us might be able to get our kids vaccinated. So I would assume they would not have to quarantine if they're exposed while at school any longer. Can you clarify that? And then my second question is, it just appears that there's not going to be any risk of exposure during lunch because I think the plan is for all students to be 6 feet apart. So does that mean that even if there is a student that comes in with COVID, that no one will be notified or asked to quarantine, which I think, will make a lot of people happy because then that will cut down on schools being shut down or people being quarantined. But I'm kind of worried about the health risks of that just because a report was also just released like this week saying that it doesn't matter if you're 6 feet apart or 60 feet apart in an indoor environment unmasked, you're at risk of contracting COVID if there's a positive person in the room, especially eating. So I'm just kind of concerned about that we then might have people going back to their homes being exposed during lunch and not really knowing it and then spreading it unknowingly to the community and their families. So I just would like clarification on those 2 points if possible. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle.
Next is Stacy Jones.
Stacy,
Hi.
you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I've expressed a number of times why I have concern about moving to full day with lunch, and Ms. Collins before me actually stated the most recent data, unmasked in a room with no contact tracing is a concern in terms of health, and in terms of my prior reference last week to potentially creating super spreader events when you're not notifying other people, when you had someone sitting 6 feet away unmasked and they may come down with COVID, but because they're just outside the quarantine notification guidelines, those kids will not be notified and could be taking that home. But then the kids who are masked in the classrooms would get notified and put out for a 14-day quarantine because they're within the 6 feet. So while I understand that's set up for administrative ease on your end and to meet the regulatory requirement, it doesn't at all address the health concerns of the families in the district. And I think it creates a real potential issue. And I have significant concerns about all of these students, especially at the middle and high school levels, ending up out on quarantines once this goes into effect and missing all those year-end, whether it's band concerts, graduations, proms, the things a lot of them didn't even get to experience last year. You now could potentially have that. The cases have been going up significantly at South this week. There are still cases and spread in the community. So you're not in a situation where you have zero spread. And I've asked over and over that you put the health and safety first. But I've also asked over and over, this is my third time in the last week, in addition to sending emails, asking for the hundreds of families in the district that are concerned about this and want their kids to remain in person, who are already learning in person, and not only be offered a virtual option, to have something afforded to them so their kids can stay in school in the building if this goes forward, but not have to eat lunch indoors. And I have not been given an answer on that. And I asked it earlier to be addressed, and it was not addressed at tonight's meeting. Again, it was ignored. And it's very upsetting to take time and ask questions and repeatedly come on and consistently get ignored and not have answers presented to those questions. So, and we've asked multiple times what data, when we're still in a high risk scenario based on the state data. I'm looking at the same state data you look at, that's a week behind. still orange, still high risk, and we still have cases in the school, what data are you using to justify the move forward on this position? And that has not been answered either. So I really would appreciate some straightforward information and answers to those questions. And I really urge you to consider that you could potentially be shutting a lot of these schools down to virtual for the last 5 or 6 weeks to test this plan, when the conditions in September can look markedly different and maybe be much more wide open, where you wouldn't even necessitate such a plan to be in place for lunches to open in September, where testing this now would be unnecessary. And I think it poses a risk to all of these kids having some semblance of continuation of any bit of normalcy that they've been able to ascertain from being in person to finish the year. And it puts everybody's year end at risk, and then potentially all the families at risk of, you know, their health with there still being COVID in the community. And I that's a significant concern to me from a health and safety standpoint. So I urge you to reconsider this plan for the 10th. And if you insist on moving forward anyway, I've asked time and time again, what are the options for those of us in-person kids in the building who don't want them eating lunch indoors? And, you know, I'm not being given an answer, and there has to be another option afforded by the district other than take your kid and put them full virtual from 8 a.m. till 2:40 p.m. every day now for the last 5 weeks of school, even though they were attending school in the building. That's very unfair to these kids at what's been the end of a very long year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Marguerite Stocker.
Hi, I'm Marguerite Stocker, Whitman Place, River Plaza. I noticed as today's rollout came for the middle schools and the high schools for lunches and full day, that it seemed that only Thorne asked for feedback. They had a link for how many people are considering sending their kids all day or hybrid or virtual. And I'm surprised that the other schools didn't do that. Maybe I missed it, but you know, I have kids in multiple schools and I didn't see that. And I think that would be helpful district-wide. Thank you.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Next is Vera Pasaki.
Hi, Vera Pasaki, Ashire Drive, Middletown. I just want to reiterate something that Rachel said at the beginning. I think if the district could provide some data as it relates to particularly the quarantine, as well as data on in-school transmission, if there is any. I know maybe some things aren't crystal clear how things might have been transmitted, but even if you put that in a separate bucket as undetermined, I think providing the community data will go a long way in helping people feel more comfortable what is happening. As it relates to quarantine data, I would love to see that. I know I've asked the question at one of my local schools, and I was told that 0 of the kids quarantined ultimately tested positive. And the reason I would love to see that is that currently this 14-day quarantine, and I pray we go to yellow on Thursday, the 14-day quarantine is more stringent than the CDC requirements of 10 days. And 14 days for kids to lose 2 weeks of school is very difficult. And I would like to see some common sense inserted into the quarantine rules. I am in a case now personally where I guess my son has rolled into 91 days after testing positive and is now at risk of missing that he is registered for. And he is in the lowest risk exposure, but it is 14 days no matter what. So I will put in a hardship appeal and hope that something comes of it, but this should be easier. It should not be this difficult for parents. Anyways, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Vera. That's it? All right, seeing no, oh, is there a hand?
No hands, Chris?
Actually, we just had one more pop up.
That's what he said.
This is Brendan Koenig. He just put his hand down.
What's that? All right, seeing no other hands raised, I'd like, oh, it's back up, never mind. It's back up. We're up and down. It's gone? Okay, seeing no other hands up, I'd like, is it back? We don't want to cut anybody off, but if there's no other hands up.
Brendan may be having some trouble with his microphone.
I see somebody. No?
Oh, Brendan.
That's weird.
Yeah, there's a picture on there.
Somebody look like he's sleeping.
That's Michelle.
No, just switched around. That person flipped off and Michelle went into his place.
Brendan left.
He's gone?
Says Brendan left.
Yeah, he left. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Have a great night, everybody.